Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Coding Java Tech tutorial. In the previous Spring Boot video tutorial session, we discussed about how to develop the Spring Boot MVC application along with the validation. So today we are going to discuss about how to connect to the database. We can achieve it in the Spring Boot using the JDBC template, and the one is what? Using the Spring Data JPA module. So first we are going to discuss about JDBC template. So what do you mean by JDBC template? So we will discuss today the complete CRUD application in the console-based application. Okay, we will execute the Spring Boot application through the main method. Means it hits to the database and perform the CRUD operations. CRUD operations can be retrieve all the information from the table, retrieve the information with respect to a particular value, insert the values, update the values with respect to ID, and then delete the values with respect to ID. These are the 5 CRUD application operations we are going to discuss using the JDBC template. So I hope you learned the JDBC template while learning the Spring. Before going to start the programming, I will just tell you what you mean by JDBC template. So JDBC template is basically a powerful mechanism to connect to the database, and it executes SQL queries. All kinds of queries it can execute. It can execute the DML statements like inserting, deleting, updating. It executes the DQL statements like data query language, which is used to retrieve the data using the select statements. It also executes the DDL statements, which can be create the table, alter the table, etc. It internally uses JDBC API, but eliminates a lot of the problem of JDBC API. Now, what are the problems of JDBC API? Means you need to write a code to connect to the database. You need to write a code to close the connection. You need to write a code to handle the exception. You need to write a code to handle the transactions. All these things will not at all occur in case of Spring JDBC template, because transactions, exception handlings has been done automatically by this class. So no need to write extra code to achieve this. Okay, and even you are not supposed to write code to connect to the database. So we are using one important class here called JDBC template class, which is present in the org.springframework.jdbc.core.jdbc template. It has lots of methods. Update method, which will execute the DML statements, which can insert, delete, and update the data into the database. Update method, which takes the query as a parameter and the object args. Means such kind of method will use to execute the pre-compiled or parameterized queries. Okay, pre-compiled or parameterized queries. It's like a prepared statement, okay, which you have studied in a JDBC. Then execute is also used to execute the DDL statements and then DML statements. Okay, so query method is used to execute the DQL statements. Means you want to execute the query which contains the select statements. Means you want to retrieve the data from the database, then it returns the information from the database. Okay, so it takes couple of parameters. One is a string query, which is the select star from table name. Then the row mapper. Row mapper is basically a functional interface. Okay, it is a functional interface which has a one method called map row. This map row contains couple of parameters. One is a result set, and the one is a row number. So it will retrieve the information from the table values or a table rows or a table's column cells. Okay, so the query for object, it will return the information with respect to a particular value. Means it can be with respect to ID, with respect to name, with respect to city, etc. Okay, so it returns only one object. So it will not return the list of objects. See the return type there, it returns one object. Okay, so if you want to retrieve the information with respect to ID, assume that ID is not a primary key. Now ID is not a primary key. and then in case it contains 2 rows, then this will give error. So it must contain only 1 row because the return type is only the type. It will not contain the list of type. Okay, so let's discuss the programming now. Okay, so let's discuss the programming. Fine. So let's go to the, so as I told you, we are going to develop a console-based application here. So we will start coding now. So open the STS, then create a new project called so very big name, project name. The Spring Boot JDBC template CRUD console application means you can execute from the main method. Okay, no need of REST application or no need of the what we can say MVC application. Okay, so and then packaging, I need to change it to jar. Okay, and then the group ID, artifact IDs are all same. So that's it. We are not going to do any other changes. Okay, fine. Next, we'll move on to the next one. Then here, we don't want any web. So we don't want Tomcat server. We don't need any Tomcat server because we're executing from the main method. So we need what? The only one dependency, 2 dependencies we need. One is a MySQL. I'm using MySQL database here. So you can also use Oracle, Postgre, etc. And then these are the SQL relational databases. Then we are using the JDBC, this one. So when you configure the JDBC API, it automatically includes the Spring JDBC jar with the Spring Boot Starter JDBC with the Spring Boot transaction. It includes the JDBC jar with the Spring JDBC jar with the Spring TX jar. Okay, because transaction will also include in this. That's it. Finish. Next. Finish. So now along with the, see the form.xml. It's very important to understand the what actually the form.xml contains. So see there is no Spring Boot Starter web dependency because I have not selected web dependency. So it will include the Spring Boot Starter JDBC. So it contains all the Spring core jars like Spring core, Spring Beans, Spring expression, okay, and then Spring context, then the JCL, so Spring AOP, all the jar files, core jar files will come along with the JDBC jar file and the TX jar file. They will also come. Then the MySQL connector, which is used to connect to the MySQL database, we can call it as a type 4 drive. So you can see here now. So you can see the Spring jar files here, the Spring core, Spring context, Spring JDBC, and then Spring TX. That's a transaction jar file. Fine. And then MySQL connector, it uses the version of 8 version. Okay, here. Okay, that's it. So now let's go to the main application, which will bootstrap your program, which is this one. Now see here, this is a main program. I'm just going to write one SQL statement here. Sorry, one SOP statement here. Okay. Now let's run it. So it will not run on port, okay, because it doesn't have a server. Yes. What is you are seeing now? You are seeing is one error. Okay. Why this error comes, I will tell you. Whenever you configure any database driver like Oracle, MySQL, or maybe the Postgre, so then what you need to set that database's credentials, means username, password, driver name, URL, etc. Why? Because internally the Spring Boot uses an in-memory database called H2 database. Internally, the Spring Boot uses the in-memory database called H2 database. So if you don't want to use the H2 database, if you are using another database, in this case it is MySQL, then it will expect its URL to be set. So you need to configure the data source here. Until and unless you cannot configure the data source, this error will not go. So let's configure the data source. Now configuring the data source is very easy in Spring Boot, as everything is been auto-configured automatically. No need to specify anything in the XML file. Okay, so just go to the properties file and then configure the driver name, URL, username, then passwords. So how you can do it? So there is no question of port here because it's executing from the main method. So let's write spring dot data source dot driver class name. This one. Okay. So you need to write com dot. This is a MySQL we are using, and spring dot data source dot URL equal to. So URL is JDBC MySQL localhost 3306. And then I will use a database called coding Java Tech. Coding Java Tech. Okay, and then the spring dot data source dot username equal to root. Spring dot data source dot password 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, that's it. So I have configured the data source here. Now, before running the program, your MySQL database must be up and running. Your MySQL must be up and running. If in case if you have installed the MySQL, it will always be running. In case you are not install the database, and then you need to start the server, and then you need to make the database must be running. So my database server is running on the port number 3306 MySQL. So this is the command console. So this is my database coding Java Tech. Okay, so it is running. It is running now. So now if I have closed the server, it will not show. It will show error. So now let's run the application. And it is running. So but it will show this much only. It will not show any port as you are not using the web dependency. Okay, so it is printing the Spring Boot CRUD using the JDBC template sentence. Okay, so that's it. So this is what a very important concept you need to learn. So if you have configured any driver in the pom.xml through which you want to connect to the database, you need to configure that database's data source. Otherwise, internally the Spring Boot uses H2 database, which is an in-memory database. It will throw error. So now let's create a one CRUD application. So the CRUD application, what we can do is here, we will use a layered architecture here. We will use a layered architecture. So service layer, the DAO layer, and then the what we can say, the presentation layer. So here there is no view, so presentation layer will not come. So only we will use a DAO layer, service layer, and the model class. So let's first create a one model class called I think I will going to take a model class as student. Okay, to the student, I'm going to take the model class. So now here I'm going to put 3 to 4 fields. Okay, so import java dot field dot star. Then first one I'm going to write is int id string name, then string city, and then int marks, then date of birth. I think we don't want the city, only 4 are enough. Okay, only 4 are enough. So now we are going to create the getters and setter methods. Done. So we are not going to enter the ID. Okay, we are not going to enter the ID because I will create an ID as a primary key auto increment. So its value will be generated by MySQL like a sequence in Oracle. So what I can do, I will create a one parameterized constructor without ID. Okay, and then I will also create a one default constructor. Okay, fine. That's it. So now I create, and I will also override the toString method. So it converts it into the string. So I have overridden toString method. I created a default constructor. I created a parameterized constructor. Then I created the getters and setter methods. So my model class has been done. So now I need to create the DAO class. Okay, we can call it as the student DAO. Okay, student DAO. So in the student DAO, I need to write the. So I will write one by one. Okay, I will write one by one. So service, I don't think service is needed here. We can just write a DAO class. Okay, so service also we can write, but I don't think service is needed here. So if you want, we will write service also. Okay, so we just let's write service also. Okay, so let's go to the DAO class. So first what I'm going to create the object of JDBC template. Okay, so what I will do, auto void JDBC template. JDBC template. Okay. Okay. Now the first one I'm going to insert the values. So how I can insert the values? Very simple. How I can insert the values? Public. So I need to use which method? I need to use the update method. Correct? I need to use the update method. So I'm going to use a second form. Okay. So public int update. Sorry, int save. Okay. So I will pass the object of the student. Yes. Okay, and then here I'm going to write a one query, string s equal to insert into. I will create the table student in the MySQL database student. So I'm not going to insert ID. I'm not going to insert ID. So I will write the column names, name, comma. So what are all the other fields I'm having? Marks, comma, DOB. These are the column names. Okay. DOB. Okay. Values. Insert into student values. So I will use the parameterized statements. So 3 parameters I'm going to use. The first parameter will represent the first place marker will represent the name, second represents the marks, third one represents the DOB. Okay, string str. Now I will write the return JDBC template dot update. Okay, then I will pass the str, comma, then what are the second parameter? The second parameter is the object of args. So here I can write s dot get name, which substitute the first place marker. Second one, s dot get DOB. Third one, sorry, marks it is. And third one, s dot get DOB. That's it. Okay, now if you want the service class, we can write the service class, or we can directly write the main method. So I don't think we need a service class. Okay, so we will directly invoke this in the main method. Now, how to invoke this in the main method? Okay, in the main method, you need to create a, you need to write the invoke this all the things in the method called run method. So means your main class must implement the one interface called command line runner interface. Okay, so this command line runner interface basically contains a run method. Okay, so you need to override that run method. So override this run method. Okay, so override this run method. I think I need to put this run method down here. Okay, so override the run method. So in this method, I'm going to write that logic. So how I can write that logic? Okay, so I will remove this sentence. Okay, and then I will just create the auto wire here. Auto wire. What is the auto? What is the DAO class name? Student DAO. Student. Okay. Now in this run method, okay, what I'm going to do here is that I need to call that method. So how I can call that method? Very simple. So that method takes a parameter as a object of the employee. Correct? So the student DAO has a method called insert. That method takes a parameter as a student object. Save. Okay. So what can I do here is I can create the object of the student. S equal to new student. I will use a parameter as a constructor called so Vinod. So I'm not going to enter the ID. Correct. Then the marks is 788. Then date. How I can insert the date here? So I can import the util package. How I can insert the date here? So new date. Okay, and then I can use a string this part. So I can use the 10th March 2000. Okay, fine. So this is what I'm inserting. So now I will call that method. So student dot save. Yes. Okay. Then system dot out dot println, or you can directly write the, int r equal to. So then write system dot out dot println r dot row inserted. Okay, that's it. So now check whether it is running or not. Okay, so before going to run this program, I need to first create the table. Okay, so the table name is what here? Table name is the student. So I need to create this table name. Create table student. Okay, so then first one ID int 2 and primary key, not null, primary key, auto increment. Not null, primary key, auto increment. Second one, name, variable character of 15, then marks, int of 4, then date of birth, date. Fine. And no database is selected. So let's use that database. Use coding Java tech. In Java. The table got created. Correct, table got created. So now let's check it whether the database name is properly written or not. Coding Java tech. Fine. So now let's execute the program. Will it inserts or not? Let us check. Okay, shall we run? And it is showing some error. What is this error here? No. Yes. The error is here that the you are going to achieve the auto wiring of the student DAO. Correct? In the main program. But how the Spring Boot understand that student DAO is a bean? Student DAO is a bean. How it understands? You have not written the any one of the annotation. So you need to write here the component annotation or repository annotation or service annotation. Correct? So that was a mistake we made. And it is inserted. Correct? And it is inserted. So now you can check that. Select star from student. Yeah. Super. Okay. So everything is working. So next what other application, other operations also we can do it. Okay. So what's the other operations? Update operation, let's do. Or display operation, let's do. Otherwise, update operation we do. So let's go to the DAO class again here. So how to achieve the update operation? Same thing, you can copy and paste here. Okay. And then you can write here the update. Then this one, again, same thing. You can write here update student set name equal to question mark, comma, marks equal to question mark, date of birth equal to question mark, where ID equal to question. Correct? Fine. Set name equal to question mark, marks equal to question mark, DOB equal to question mark, where ID equal to question mark. So here I need to pass the str, then the first one name, second one get marks, third one get DOB, and also I need to pass the ID. With respect to ID, I'm updating these things. Correct? So I need to update now here what? The guest dot get ID. Okay, so that's it. So now I need to invoke this method in the main program. So in the main program, where I need to come here, then I need to write here. Here again, I need to write. So updating. Okay, so I need to create the same thing here. Control C and Control V. And here I can write student ES1. New student, Vinod. But I don't have the constructor of 4 parameters. I have only the constructor of 3 parameters. So what can I do here? I can create one more constructor of 4 parameters, or I can use a setter methods. Let's use the setter methods otherwise. Okay. Or I can create a 4 parameter constructor also. Let's create a 4 parameter constructor here. So now I have 4 parameter constructor. Save it. So now come back to here again. So now I have a 4 parameter constructor, correct? So the ID1 is already exist, okay, because the ID1 got generated automatically. So this one I will going to update by the name called Asha. Then the marks are 95, 98. The date will be 20th April 2002, correct? So now I will insert one more record called same record I'm going to insert. Okay, so one more record I'm going to insert, and then the first record has been changed to Asha. We know it has been changed to Asha. Then again, let me change it to Vinay. Okay, so then you can write here the int R1 equal to the student dot update of S1. Okay, then and write that the R1 dot updated. Okay, so it is updated. It inserts one more row, and then it updates the first row to Asha. So let's run that. And it is updated. Okay, and let me check. We will see 2 rows. First has been changed to Asha. Second has been inserted a Vinay. Okay, perfect. So next, what we are going to delete. Again, we need to copy the same thing here. Very simple. These are how. And then you are writing here delete. Okay, then I can declare one more. I think I'm going to use the setter method here because I'm going to first write a DAO class here. Okay, so delete. So in the delete, what I need to do, I will create a one more method here called remove. Okay, then delete from student where ID equal to question. Where ID equal to question. So I can again use the update method and I can pass the only ID. Correct? Only ID here. That's it. Fine. This is the delete. Now I need to write that method in the here. So deleting S1 equal to. So here we are not going to write these things. You can just write here the setter method. So what I can do here is the student. We have before constructor just 2 equal to new student. Okay. Then yes 2 dot set of. I want to delete the set the ID. I can write 1. So it will delete the set ID of 1. So now I will call the int R2 equal to student dot remove of yes2. Correct? Deleted. Fine. So it deletes the first row. Okay. So now let's insert some more records. Widget. Then 95. Then 12 August 2003. Then updating. So updating I will keep as it is. I'm not going to change anything. So I'm going to delete the second row. I'm going to delete the window. Okay. I'm going to delete the second row. Okay. So everything is fine now. Okay. Everything is okay. Okay. Now let's run it. So it inserts the Vijay, deletes the Vinod, and then again updates the as it is Asha. Okay, so now it is done everything. Okay, Now let's see here. So it inserts, it deletes the, in fact, Asha got, sorry, Vinay got deleted. Yeah, Vinay got deleted. And then the Asha is, so Vijay got inserted. Vijay got inserted. Vinod got deleted. Sorry, Vinay got deleted. Okay, because I'm deleting the second one. Okay, and then the Vijay got inserted, and then there is no change in the Asha. Fine. So next what we are going to display all the students. How to display all the students? Yes. Now you can see here the parameter of the query method. So you need to use a query method. Now the query method takes the row mapper. Row mapper is a one functional interface which takes the one method called functional interface means it contains only one method called map row. It takes a couple of parameters. One is a result set and the one is a row number. So it retrieves the information from the table cells and then stores it to the result set. So how first I need to code the student mapper. I will create a new class called student mapper here. Okay. So let's implement this with the row mapper. Row mapper is an interface present in the, and it must be of a type student. So now you override the map row method. Okay. So here you can create the object of student. Then you can now write the rs dot, sorry, s dot set id equal to rs dot get int. First column. Yes dot set marks. Sorry, name. rs dot get string. So rs result set. I hope you studied the result set. Second column. So yes dot set date of birth. Sorry, in fact, the marks. rs dot get int. Third column. Then yes dot set date of birth. rs dot get date. Fourth. Okay. Then return yes. Okay. Fine. So that's what the it returns the information from the result set and then stores it in a set that information to the student object. Now this has to be passed as a second parameter in the query method. Now let's go to the DAO class. Then you can create a one method called, before creating a method, you need to import the util package. Okay, because the method called list returns the method called query returns the list. So public list of student get all. Okay, string, so string yes equal to select star from student. Okay, return JDBC template dot query. And then here the first one str, right? Second one new student map. That's it. Done. Okay. Now I need to invoke this method in the main program. So how I can do that? Here I can write wln list of all students list of student is equal to students equal to student now dot get out. Okay, so you need to use a for each loop here for student. This is two students. And yes. Okay, that's it. Done. So now let's insert the one more record called Anil. I will use 99, 2, and one more record inserted. The updating, no problem. Deleting, I'm going to delete the third record. I'm going to delete the third record. Okay, and then that's it. Fine. I'm going to delete the third record, inserting one Anil. Then delete the third record called Vijay. Vijay got deleted, Anil got inserted. Now let's run it. Everything is fine. Okay. And you can see here, Vijay got deleted and Asha is as it is updated. And then the new record Anil also got inserted. Okay. You can see here now. You can see here again 2 rows. This time Vijay got deleted. Okay. Fine. So this is how you can get the list of employees, students. Now the last but not least we are going to discuss is how to retrieve a student information with respect to particular object. Let's retrieve the student with respect to ID. How I can do that? So let's go to the DAO class and then I can copy this one. Then I can paste it. This time I'm going to retrieve the only object for student because the return type is only the object. Okay. So here I need to write the get by ID. I need to pass the ID here. Select staff from students where ID equal to question. Okay, this ID is the column. Okay, it must be matched. Okay, then here return JDBC template dot query for object. And then string, then the mapper, then you need to write here the ID. Okay, that's it. We need to do like this. Fine. So now let's go to the main program. Then here I can insert one more row called Ajit. 92. Then September 2003. And then updating, no problem. Deleting, I'm going to delete the 4th. Okay. And then the list of the students I'm going to display here. Then student with respect to ID of 4. Sorry, 4 is deleted, correct? So with respect to ID 1. Okay, so how I can do that? Student. First, I will create the object of student. Student s5 equal to new student s5 dot set ID. Sorry, I think I need to pass the ID there, correct? So no need to do it. Just you can call that student yes 1 equal to student now get by ID of 1. You can directly pass your code. Okay. Then system out of println yes. So now the with respect to line here. Fine. Now let's run the mail. So it will insert the one more record called Ajit. Then it deletes the last record, I think, which was that one it will delete. 4 it returns, it deletes, and then it returns out first object. Okay, so let's run the code. And it is working. Okay, see here, it is inserted. Okay, and then the updated is already done. And then the deleting also is done. Then the list of all students. So the Ajit is inserted. Okay, and then the first record Asha is also returned. Okay, so this is how you can achieve the CRUD operations. Now the Asha, so Anil has gone. Anil has gone. So totally the 2 records are present, which I can see here, 1 and 5. Okay, the first record is also returning. Fine. So this is how you can achieve the CRUD application using the JDBC template. Got it? Understood? Okay. So I hope you understood the CRUD application. So in the next tutorial, we are going to discuss about how to achieve the CRUD application using the console-based, using the Hibernate. Okay, Hibernate, I think you have a knowledge. So using the Spring Data JPM module, we will achieve the CRUD application. If I use a Spring Data JPM module, no need to write this logic. So this is a data access logic I have written. So this logic, no need to write. Okay, so you can also you can also change this repository to service, component, or a controller. Okay, but these are the stereotype annotations. If you are not annotated this, then here you will get error. Okay, here you will get error because you are auto wiring it. Okay, you are auto wiring means what? It must be, you should to tell to the Spring Boot that it must be a bean. So that's why you need to, since contains a data access logic, I can write here the repository. Fine. So we'll meet at the next session for the CRUD application using Spring Data JPA. Thank you.